Here we go, chapter 29. I'm sure she's fine, Lady Thornton said. Even the Nazis wouldn't harm an elderly woman. We haven't heard from her, Ruth said. Not one letter in almost 2 years. My mother is sick from worry. Lady Thornton said, I'm sure she's all right. Ruth's eyes glittered. You don't really understand anything, do you? That, or you choose not to. She stood. Excuse me, I want to take my work upstairs. I watched her go. Across the room, Jamie made airplane noises. Jonathan raised his eyebrows at his mother. How can she say that, Lady Thornton demanded, when you, my son, my only son, are risking your life every single day? When the government's taken my home, when our village has been bombed, when we deal with queues and shortages every day. Jonathan pressed his fingertips together so hard that the pads of his fingers turned whites. Because we haven't faced anything like what she has, he said. You've lent your house. You haven't lost it. None of us know how she feels. Jamie looked up. Can you rescue Ruth's grandmother? He asked Jonathan. Can you go get her with your plane? Not with a Spitfire, Jamie said. I'm afraid we'll need infantry for that. Will you do it? Jamie asked. Jonathan said. We'll certainly try. Susan was not cross about the eggs. She wasn't even cross about the butter. Of course you had to celebrate, she said. She threw her arms around Jonathan as though she were thrilled to see him, as though he were someone really important to her. Maybe he was. I thought perhaps a cake, Lady Thornton suggested. Yes, we could manage a small one, Susan said. Jamie, quit pestering Jonathan. Run over to Fred's or tell the Ellistons and see if you can't borrow one more egg. Tell them I'll pay it back and invite them all to tea. Tell them we have a banana. The thick skin of the banana peeled away. Inside was a long, slim, cream-colored fruit. It was soft like pudding and didn't have seeds or stones. You could cut it the way you would a block of warm butter. Susan divided Jonathan's banana into slices and handed them around on a plate. Jamie's eyes widened when he tasted his. I like banana, he said. I wasn't sure. Susan laughed when she saw my face. Ada's thinking, this is very different, she said, and she was right. I was. What's flying like? Jamie asked Jonathan. He scooted his chair over until he was nearly touching Jonathan's side. He was wearing Jonathan's scarf. Jonathan had shown him how to knot it the way a pilot would. Extraordinary, Jamie said. Free. You can go up, down, sideways, any direction at all. Everything's beautiful from above. The ocean is like an endless, sparkling blanket of blue. I turned towards him. That's how it looks from the church steeple. Jonathan nodded. I said, when you're flying, are you afraid? Maybe it wasn't a question I should ask. Jonathan's face went very still. I'm not afraid because I'm flying, he said at last. Let's leave it at that. Jamie leaned into him. Everyone's shooting at you, he said. Yes, Jonathan said. We're all shooting at each other. After our baths, we came downstairs to listen to the radio news. Jonathan was slumped half asleep in his mother's wing chair. He started when he saw me. Ah, he said, Ada, I promised to take you riding. Me and Maggie both, I said, and she's not here. Still, he said, I did promise, and I don't like to waste the chance. Maybe early tomorrow morning, only I've got to catch the train before 9. With wartime daylight savings, it didn't even start to get light until 7. I said, we'll do it next time. Maybe Maggie will be home then. He looked relieved. You weren't disappointed? I was disappointed not to have the ride, but happy he remembered his promise. Plus, he looked so tired. I said, I'm fine. Next morning it rained. Penelope and Persnickety laid 2 more eggs, and Susan fried them in the still buttery omelet pan from Jonathan's breakfast. All the rest of us ate toast with tiny scrappings of jam. Jonathan seemed even more tired than he had the day before. I thought of what it meant to be a pilot, to go out and try and kill Germans, to kill people like Ruth. Except that Ruth had been kicked out of Germany. Hitler had kicked her out. If our pilots hadn't won the Battle of Britain, Hitler and the German army would have invaded England for sure. That's what everyone said, even Winston Churchill. I was pretty sure Winston Churchill wouldn't lie. War was as complicated as religion when you started to think about it. Jonathan shook my hand goodbye. Next time, he said, we'll have our ride. I won't forget. I nodded. Be careful, I said. He grinned ruefully. I can't afford that, remember? There's a war on. That's the end of chapter 29. It was a quick one.